Lesson 9-8, percent and estimation. And in this lesson, you learn to use percents to estimate. And it's important because you can use percents to estimate the amount of tip to leave at a restaurant. So let's take a look at this real-world application in health. You are what you eat. So if you want to be healthy, you need to eat healthful foods. Nutritionists suggest that people get no more than 30% of their daily calorie intake from fat. Do any of the popcorn snacks shown in the table at the right contain about 30% fat calories or less? And we will solve this in example number 2. So we have calories per serving, brand A, okay, 140 calories per serving, and calories from fat per serving is 63. Brand B, 110 calories from fat per serving is 27, and so on and so forth, all the way to brand G, okay, 160 calories per serving, and calories from fat per serving is 90. Okay, so we'll find out the answer. Okay, the question, do any of the popcorn snacks shown, okay, contain about 30% fat calories or less? So we'll solve this in example number 2. So before we solve that, let's learn our concept. Many times when you are working with percents, an exact answer is not needed. In cases like this, you can estimate. Okay, we could estimate the percent of the model that is shaded. Now, this is a lesson in estimating, and the key word that tells you that we don't need that exact answer will be the word about. So the word about gives you an idea that what we don't need an exact answer for the problem. So let's take a look at this example now. We could use to estimate the percent of a model that is shaded. So if you look at our model right there, okay, 9 of the 20 squares are shaded. So 9 out of 20 is about close to 10 over 20, or 1/2. Okay, and since 1/2 is 50%, about 50% of the model is shaded. And that's how we estimate this particular example right here. Okay, and there are 3 methods you can use to estimate a percentage. The table below shows how to estimate 30% of 367 using each method. So in this particular table, okay, we will use this example, 30% of 657, and it shows you three ways of estimating 30% of 657. So let's take a look at the first way, or the first method. It's called the fraction method. Okay, so 30% of 657 is 30%, is close to 33.33%. Remember, why do we look at 33.33%? Because 33.33% is also the same as the fraction 1/3. Okay, and from there we know that 1/3 of 660, because 657, okay, 657 is close to 660. And mental math tells us that 1/3 of 660 is 220, because you simply divide 66 by 3, that'll give you 22, and simply add a 0. Okay, so the estimate using the fraction method is around 220. So 30% of 657 is about 220 using the fraction method. Let's take a look at the 1% method. Okay, the 1% method, 1% of 660 is 6.6, not about. Okay, again, 660 is taken from 657. 657 is close to 660. So 1% of that is 660. How did I get that? Very easy. So you get 660, and you simply multiply by 0.01, right? Because that's 1% as a decimal. So you get 1, multiply 1 by 660 will give you 660. And since there are 2 decimal places in 0.01, you end up with 6.6. So every single time you multiply by 1%, you simply move the decimal place 2 spaces to the left. Okay, so this becomes 6.6, or close to 7. Okay, now how do we use the number 7? Since it's 30%, 30 times 7 is 210. Okay, Therefore, an estimate for this one is around 210. Using the 1% method, 30% of 657 is about 210. Okay? And the final method, meaning of percent method. So in 30%, it simply means that 30 for every 100. Okay, remember the meaning of percent, it's by the hundreds. So 30% means for 30 of every 100, or 3 out of 10. Why 3 out of 10? Because again, when you have 30 over 100 and you want to simplify 30 over 100, cancel those zeros, you end up with 3 out of 10. So 30 out of 100 is equal to 3 out of 10. Okay? So going back here, 30% is 30 out of 30 for every 100, or 3 for every 10. In this case, if you look at 657, there are 6 hundreds and about 6 tens. Okay? So there are 6 hundreds because there are 600 obviously. About 6 tens because 57 is close to 60. So you have 6 hundreds and 6 tens. Now if you look at this carefully, and if you're looking at 30% of it, so you simply multiply 30 by 6, you're multiplying the hundreds, and 30 by 6, you're multiplying the tens. So 30 times 6 is 180 plus 18 will give you 198. So using the percent, meaning of percent method, our estimate answer for 30% of 657 is 198. Now, if we look at the exact amount of this one, we notice that 657 times 0.3 is 197.1. Okay, so the actual percentage is very close to all of the estimates. So the actual percentage, 220, 210, and 198, okay, is very close to the actual answer, which is 197.1. It doesn't necessarily mean, since the meaning of percent method is the closest to the exact answer, that is the best method to use. No, all three methods are acceptable in estimating, okay, 30% of 657. Let's take a look at example number 1, see how this works. So we want to estimate 60% of 996, okay, and the 1%, we're using the 1% method, okay. So 1% of 996 is 9.96 or 10, okay. So since we're using 60%, 60% of 996 is 60 times 10 or 600. So it's about 600. Let's take a look at letter B. 8% of $58. 8% is about 10% or 1/10, and this is 1 over 10, and this is the fraction method. We're using the fraction method to solve this. So 1/10 of 58 is 5.8. So 8% of 58 is about $6. Okay, 0.5%, okay, of 795. 0.5% is half. Okay, again, we're still using the 1% method. Okay, half of 1%, and 795 is almost 800, so we use 800 now. Okay, and 1% means 1 out of 10, or 1 out of 100. Okay, so 1% of 800 is 8. Okay, and 1/2 of 8 is 4. Okay, why 1/2 of 8? Because 0.5 is half of 1%. So first we get, okay, we get the estimate using the 1% method, but since this is half a percent, we simply divide what we got from the estimate by 2, or multiply it by 1/2, which is 4. So 0.5% of 795 is about 4. Okay, and then 109% of 62. Okay, So when you talk about 109% of 62, we use the meaning of percent method. It is more than 100%, which simply means that 109% of 62 is definitely more than 62. Okay? So 109% is almost 110%. Okay? It's almost 110%. And we know that 110% is the same as 100% plus 10% of it. So 62 is, we multiply 62 by 100% plus 10% because it's almost close to 110%. And the 100% of 62 is 62, and 10% of 62 is 6.2. And we simply add those two together, it's 68.2. So 109% of 62 is about 68%. We simply round 68.2 to 68%. Okay? And that's how you use this skill to be able to estimate. Okay? And using the three methods, fraction method, 1% method, and the meaning of percent method. Let's take a look at example number 2. Refer to the application at the beginning of the lesson. Do any of the popcorn snacks have less than 30% of the calories from fat? So we will use the meaning of percent method to estimate 30% of the calories for each snack. Again, 30% means 30 for every 100 calories and 3 for every 10 calories. And let's look at this chart. Okay, you have brand A has 140 calories and estimate 30% of it. Okay, so 30%, okay, plus 3 times 4 will give you 42. Okay, because there are 40 calories from one. Well, when you say 30%, okay, 30 for every 100 calories. Okay, so this means now since the 140, let me explain this to you. So 140 is the same as 100 plus 40, and the meaning of percent method means that 30% means 30 for every 100. Okay, that gives you your 30. And why 4? Because there are 40 calories and you're talking about 3 for every 10 calories, and that's the reason why you multiply it by 4. Okay, so there are 10 calories here and 40, and that's why you multiply it by 4, and then you end up with 63. And they're all 30 because if you notice, okay, they're all 140, 110, 142. That means they are all 30 calories. Okay, the meaning of percent method simply means that 30 for every 100 calories. So that means there are at least 30 calories, okay, in all of them. Okay, so since this is 110, there's only one 10 calorie, and that is 3. So you simply multiply 3 times 1. Okay, this one you have approximately 4 10 calories, and that's why you multiply it by 4, 3 by 4. And this one you approximately 1 10 calorie, and that's why you multiply it by 1. No 10 calories, and that's why it's multiplied by 0. 30 calories, and that's why you multiply it by 3. 60 calories, and that's why you multiply it by 6. And that's what you get. Okay. From there, we can now conclude comparing the estimate of 30% of all the total calories to the number of calories from fat of each snack. Okay, so after we compare them, brand B, brand D, and brand F, all about 30% or less of their calories. So these three brands basically have less or 30% or less of their fat calories from fat. Brand B, brand D, and brand F right here. Okay. Example number 3, estimating percent is a useful skill for everyday situations, and you can apply this skill right away when you go to a restaurant and you want to give a 15% tip. So this is a standard for good service in a restaurant. If Simone wants to leave a tip of about 15% on a dinner check that is 23.85, how much should she leave? So first we need to estimate. 23.85 is close to $24, and we get 10% of 24, which is 2.4. Remember, 10% is, okay, as a decimal is 0.1. Okay, so you simply move 24 in 24. You move it one decimal space to the left, and that gives you 2.4 or 240. Okay, and from there, we know that 5% is half of 10%. So you simply get 1/2 of 2.4. Okay, so half of 2.4 is $1.20, and you simply add them up together. Okay, so you get 15%. Is simply adding 240 plus 120, or $3.60. Okay, so Simone should leave $3.60 as a tip. Again, going back here, first you estimate it to the nearest whole number, and then get 10% of that, okay, which is simply moving the decimal one space to the left. In this case, 2.4 becomes, sorry, $24. The 10% of that is 2.4, and simply get half of 2.4, which is $1.20, and then add it to 2.4. That leaves you with $3.60. No need of a calculator. You can leave a tip of $3.60